Hey there, pirates. Welcome aboard the Anime No Mi channel. What if Gol D Roger, the pirate king who laughed in the face of death in Logtown, was brought back to life just to kick the butt of our favorite stretchy guy, Monkey D. Luffy? Yep, you read that right. Roger, the man who sparked the great pirate era, revived as a legendary zombie to block Luffy's path to the One Piece. This theory comes straight from the fiery minds of fans, mixing manga clues, Oda-sensei's SBS, and devil fruits that defy death. I hope for your support to help our crew win, and to do so, you just need to click the thumbs up button, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel. By doing this, you will win an incredible devil fruit, so just comment which fruit you want. It all starts with the Akuma no Mi, those cursed fruits that turn you into a superhero but screw you if you fall into the sea. The theory suggests Roger could come back thanks to the Ope no Mi, the surgical fruit that's basically a magic scalpel. In chapter 765 in Dressrosa, Doflamingo drops the bomb. This fruit has the perennial youth surgery, which grants eternal life but kills the user instantly. Crazy, right? But what if it could do more? Like hit Control plus Z on death and bring someone like Roger back into the game? Picture the scene. Roger, executed in Logtown in Chapter 0, laughed as the blade fell, but his body was never shown afterward. What if the world government, those guys who never seem to smile, preserved the Pirate King's body in a secret freezer in Mariajois? In Chapter 504, Trafalgar Law uses the Ope to swap hearts and minds like they're Lego pieces. Fans go wild imagining that in the right hands this fruit could swap death for life, reanimating Roger as a supercharged zombie. Fun, right? Imagine Roger waking up scratching his head. Where's my ship? And who's this Luffy kid I'm supposed to beat up? The idea gains traction in chapter 1086, where Ivankov reveals that Imu, the dark boss of the Empty Throne, has been immortal for 800 years, probably thanks to an ancient Ope. If Imu uses it to live forever, why not use it to revive Roger as a weapon? In chapter 957, Roger's bounty, 5,564,000,000, is revealed as the highest in history, showing just how terrifying he was to the system. Reviving him would be the perfect plan to stop Luffy, who's following in the king's footsteps with a straw hat and an even more dangerous grin. Roger wasn't just any pirate. He was the man who found the One Piece, laughed at the world's history, and inspired an era of chaos. Chapter 0. The theory paints him as the world government's secret weapon to stop Luffy, who is becoming a bigger threat than Roger himself. In chapter 906, Imu appears for the first time, a creepy silhouette with red eyes holding posters of Luffy and Blackbeard. Why? Because Luffy, as the reincarnation of Joy Boy, chapter 1043, is Imu's nightmare, threatening to keep the Void Century buried, chapter 1115. Now think about it. Imu, alive since the Void Century, chapter 1086, knows that Luffy is the reincarnation of the enemy he defeated 800 years ago. In chapter 1158, flashbacks show Roger facing rocks on Pirate Island, proving he was a monster even by old standards. Reviving Roger would be like releasing a dragon against a tiger. The government would use a legend against the new legend. In chapter 1095, God Valley reveals that Roger allied with Garp to take down rocks, showing he had principles. But a zombie Roger? He could be controlled, maybe through powers like Kuma's Nikyu no Mi, chapter 1100, which transfers memories and wills. Fun to imagine Roger returning with a blank stare, sword in hand murmuring, Mariajois orders, crush the rubber kid. The logic is simple. Roger alive was uncontrollable but dead and revived. The perfect puppet. In chapter 1122, Joy Boy's hockey echoes from 800 years ago, and Imu seems to recognize it. He knows Luffy's danger. Using Roger, the man who reached Laugh Tale, chapter 967, against Joy Boy's heir would be a strategic checkmate with the ironic twist Oda loves. But how do you bring back a guy dead for 22 years? Beyond the OP, the theory speculates a combo of powers and technology. In chapter 1069, Vegapunk reveals that Akuma no Mi are crystallized human desires. And what if a lost fruit could wish someone back? In chapter 1100, the Seraphim, warlord clones with green blood, show the government master's genetic manipulation. Roger could be recreated with an artificial body, injected with his essence via the Ope or another mythical fruit. Picture the madness. In chapter 1085, Imu uses a demonic power to vaporize Sabo, complete with wings and trident. What if he had a fruit that manipulates souls, like Brooks Yomi no Mi, chapter 442, but on steroids? Brook came back as a skeleton, Roger could return as a fully intact warrior with Supreme Haki. Chapter 966, Roger vs. Whitebeard. Fun to imagine Imu in a secret lab like a mad scientist shouting, "Live, Roger, live!" as lightning strikes and the Pirate King blinks, confused. Wasn't I dead? In Chapter 1158, Garling Figurlin discovers something in God Valley that Imu would like, maybe relics from the Void Century to revive legends. The government, with its secrets, Chapter 907 Empty Throne, could use ancient technology for this, combined with the Ope Ope stolen by Blackbeard. Chapter 1059 Hunting Rare Fruits. No recycled ideas here. Every clue builds the theory that Roger would return not as a hero, but as a weapon. Now, the core of the theory, a revived Roger facing Luffy. In Chapter 1044, Luffy awakens the Hito Hito no Mi model Nika, becoming Joy Boy, the god of freedom. Roger, alive, was waiting for this guy. Chapter 968. But a zombie Roger, controlled by Imu, would be the opposite. An enforcer of the system. Imagine the scene at Laugh Tale. Hypothetical Chapter 1200. Luffy, with his stretchy grin, finds the One Piece, only to see Roger emerge from the shadows, sword in hand, saying, "You're the kid who stole my hat? Let's see if you're worthy." In Chapter 1079, Shanks demonstrates supreme haki that knocks out Kid. Roger had that on a grander scale. Chapter 966. A Luffy versus Roger duel would be haki against haki, rubber against steel, freedom against fate. Fun, right? It's like a pirate Goku versus Superman. Luffy, in Gear 5th, Chapter 1045, would turn the battlefield into a cartoon, while Roger, revived at full power, would slice through the sky. The government would bet Roger, as a legend, could crush the rookie. But Luffy's will, Chapter 1033, always wins. Why would Imu use Roger? Because he's the ultimate symbol of rebellion. In Chapter 0, his execution sparks the pirate era. Reviving him as a puppet would snuff out that flame. In Chapter 1115, Vegapunk reveals that the world is sinking. Luffy is the hope against it. A revived Roger would be the perfect psychological blow. If not even the Pirate King can beat you, how dare you dream? Fun to imagine Luffy laughing, "Roger, you're cool, but I'm next. Gear 5th, let's play." In Chapter 1150, Imu destroys islands with raw power. Roger would be his surgical weapon against Luffy's alliance. Chapter 800, Grand Fleet. The theory paints a finale where Luffy proves the future surpasses the past, defeating the revived king with a punch that echoes 800 years. Now, talking about the Kage Kage no Mi, let's see how it could tie into the idea of a revived Roger. The Kage no Mi is a devil fruit that allows the user to manipulate shadows. And more than that, it gives the ability to bring out shadows of others or even dead creatures. If used alongside the Ope Ope no Mi or some other soul-manipulating fruit, we could have the key to Roger's resurrection in an even darker form. The Kage no Mi, in the wrong hands, could be the final component to control Roger's shadow. Imagine Imu having access to this fruit not only brings back the Pirate King's physical essence, but also his shadow, which, when combined with the Ope Ope no Mi, would give the world government total control over Roger's body. This would make him a more complex zombie, a puppet that not only obeys physically, but could also act in a way that seems authentic, as if Roger himself had returned. This Shadow Roger would tie directly into the concept of death and resurrection in the world of One Piece. Perhaps by controlling his shadow, the government wouldn't just bring Roger back to life, but also alter his essence, turning him into the perfect strategic tool against Luffy. It's as if Roger's true soul is suppressed, replaced by Imu's will, or even a new objective, a distorted reflection of the pirate. What makes this theory even more interesting is the fact that shadows, as we've seen with characters like Gecko Moriah, and even Luffy's own abilities with his elasticity, can be manipulated to increase or decrease a being's power. Roger, for example, could become stronger through this shadow manipulation, or perhaps weaker, depending on how Imu uses these abilities. This would make him an even greater psychological challenge for Luffy, as he wouldn't just face a legendary pirate, but also confront the ghosts of the past that recognize him as their successor. And of course, if the theory of Roger and Luffy actually facing off becomes reality, the scene of Luffy finally confronting the Pirate King, now controlled, would carry monumental emotional weight. Their battle would be not only physical, but ideological, with Luffy representing freedom and change, and Roger, even in his distorted form, symbolizing the past, an era that must be overcome for the future to hold true meaning. Now the big question is, could this really happen, or would it be a masterstroke to show that the future will always surpass the past? The contrast contrast between the original Roger and the zombie Roger would be brutal, but also highly symbolic for Luffy's journey. That was today's content. We hope you liked it and want to share your opinion on the subject. Don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay amazing.